Good morning and welcome to the 2023 Conference Carolinas Acrobatics and Tumbling Championship. We are live on the campus of Lander University in Greenwood, South Carolina. Horn Arena, the site for this weekend's Acrobatics and Tumbling Championship. I'm Robbie Ross, joined by Miranda Murchison. No stranger to Conference Carolinas Acrobatics and Tumbling. Of course, the former coach of King University for 5 years, 2017 to 2022. Very successful at that level, and a former athlete of yourself, a three-time national champion at the University of Oregon. First of all, excited to be here. Welcome today, and we're going to have fun this weekend.
Yes, thank you. I'm super excited to be here and excited to be a part of Conference Carolina still. Absolutely,
and this, of course, the third year of this championship. 2022, Limestone was the champion. 2021, Converse was the champion. And by the way, that's who we're going to see first this morning, or actually once we get started this afternoon. The one seed Limestone, ranked number 1 in Conference Carolina, is the regular season champion, for lack of a better term. Ranked number 8 in the country, and Converse, Conference Carolina's the 4 seed. They defeated Lander on Tuesday night, 267.660 to 254.010 to get here.
Exactly. This is going to be a great matchup this evening, and I really think that it's going to be a lot of fun.
Limestone led by Conference Athlete of the Year, Casey Keir, and she is some sort of athlete, of course, to be named that. Converse also has a number of all-conference first team and second team participants. We'll get to know them as we go along this morning. But really set the stage for us a little bit for folks that may be new to our broadcast or new to the event. Set the stage a little bit here in the next 30 seconds, your Cliff Note version of what we're going to see this morning.
Yeah, so this evening it's a lot of excitement, a lot of fun, a lot of action on the mat. For anyone who doesn't know, acrobatics and tumbling is an NCAA sport. We are now up to, I want to believe, 53, 54 teams across the nation, and this is just one of the conferences that we have. It's a great matchup today between Limestone and Converse first, and then we will see Coker and Belmont Abbey later. And I just really look forward to watching all these athletes perform on the mat today.
Limestone is 7-0 in conference meets.
The 2022-2023 Conference Carolinas Championship season is in full swing. Please visit conferencecarolinas.com/championships to learn more about
for this afternoon's events.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Horn Arena of the campus Lander University for Conference Carolinas Acrobatics and Tumbling semifinal meet between the number 4 seeded Converse Valkyries and number 1 seeded Limestone Saints. Please welcome from Spartanburg, South Carolina, the Converse Valkyries. Number 1, Mason Turner. Number 2, Lauren Gamble. Number 4, Hannah Baker. Number 5, Carissa Gaines. Number 6, Hope Seas. Number 7, Emily Claire Carter. Number 8, Naya Jackson. Number 9, Noah Ortiz. Number 11, Ashlyn Voorhees. Number 12, Ziana Brown. Number 13, Joseph McDevitt. Number 14, Isha Nagireddy. Number 16, Ashley Hernandez. Number 17, Ayana Manning. Number 18, Jasmine Williams. Number 19, Malia Barrett. Number 21, Mackenzie Leary. Number 22, Estrella Seabolt. Number 23, Riley Corley. Number 25, Jessica Holder. Number 29, Chloe Cleland. Number 34, Aiko Hirata. Number 38, Lydia Redmond. Number 41, Jasmine Finkley. And number 51, Carson Lucy. Converse is coached by Ebony Jackson, assisted by Abigail Halt. And now introducing from Gaffney, South Carolina, the Limestone Saints. Number 1, Riley Rossman. Number 5, Acacia Johnson. Number 6, Katrina Wright. Number 7, Ariel Beat. Number 8, Emily St. Onge. Number 9, Casey Keir. Number 11, Susanna Ballastone. Number 12, Brianne Popejoy. Number 13, Haley Fox. Number 14, Morgan Bramble. Number 17, Savannah Venters. Number 18, Destiny McDonald. Number 20, Catherine Coker. Number 21, Amanda Snelker. Number 24, Cameron King. Number 25, Gabrielle Carter. Number 26, Michaela Kanoiser. Number 27, Sam Mursky. Number 28, Janiyah Brown. Number 30, Haley Allen. Number 33, Avery Kiopke. Number 34, Amanda Gary. Number 36, Genesis Carson. Number 37, Alex Long. Number 39, Marlena Costanzo. Number 40, Alicia Lefkowskis. Number 40, Zana Newberry. And number 45, Anna Waring. Limestone is coached by Michaela Soper and assisted by Joanna Howell. At this time, fans, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as we honor America with the playing of the national anthem. Veterans and those of you on active duty, you may render your military salute.
Are set. The starting lineups have been made, and of course the national anthem here at Lander University, the 2023 Conference Carolinas Acrobatics and Tumbling Championship. And a little meet information, an NCATA meet is a team competition consisting of 6 events. The first event is compulsories, followed by 3 heats with the acro event, followed by the pyramid event, then halftime. After halftime, there will be the toss event, the tumbling event, and the team event. A running score will be kept throughout the meets. The team with the most cumulative points at the end of all 6 events is the winner of the meet. So time to get started, and the compulsory event consists of 4 heats, an acro heat, a pyramid heat, a toss heat, and a tumbling heat. The skills for the compulsory event represent the basic skills of the sport of acrobatics and tumbling. In this event, each team will execute the same skills for direct comparison. Each heat begins with a starting value of 10. The officials will be looking for execution, body positions, and stability of structures. And going first as the 4 seed will be Converse. And let's see what we're going to get from Converse here opening up.
So that was performed very well. That's a toss up to a hands position, which would also be a 1-to-1 release skill. This right here, they're going to go into a straddle position, and they are going to pop over to that second base. We're looking for synchronization, so that was a little lack of synchronization there. Beautiful body lines, great landings. Now we are going to go to a release skill here. They are going to switch feet in the middle of the air, switch up, beautiful to a liberty, and an arabesque. And now we are going to go to a 360 twist down into a cradle. Great job from the Valkyries.
Very good opening performance by Converse. And these are set by the NCATA, and are uniform for every team. in the opening stages.
Correct, yes. So a lot of this is just the basics of what you'll see in the acro event. It also sets the stone for pyramid, toss, and tumbling. So you'll kind of see that apples to apples comparison, and it will give you all kind of an idea of the athleticism that these athletes are performing on the mat today.
Coaching-wise, what you saw from Converse, you put your coach's hat on. How would you have felt when your team ran off the mat after that performance to start off?
You know, it's hard when you are the opposing team because you have to go first. So you kind of, first event of compulsory is always a little kind of relief when you're done. So I think Coach Jackson over there was really happy with that. It's good to see them all perform in synchronization, obviously, and then just it starts off the meet.
Yeah.
So compulsory acro actually has a lot of elements inside of that sequence, so it's important to note that there are more things to deduct from, things like that. So as a coach, you know, it's a little stressful. It's a lot of action going on, and as soon as they're done, it's kind of like a sigh of relief. So I think she should be happy with that one.
Safe to say you can't win the meets in the first event, but you could probably put yourself behind the 8 ball.
Absolutely. So that is really important. My coaching philosophy was always get every point you can. Unfortunately, we're not like other sports where we are officiated. So, you know, what you do on the mat is specifically what you do on the mat and what they judge from. So, you know, you can't go to the other team and do something to them, so which we would never want.
No.
But it's kind of that mental toughness piece that each team you'll kind of see as they perform.
And here comes Limestone onto the mat for their opening event in the compulsory acro heat.
Nice landings there.
Limestone led by a freshman, Casey Keir, wearing number 9, Conference Athlete of the Year.
Right here, we're looking at that sturdy stance, beautiful body lines, beautiful landings. Nice. Right there, they square to the front, nice catches. A little bit of a lack of synchronization there on that,
Yeah.
but I think Coach Michaela is very happy with it.
I would say so. You saw the little lack of synchronized there at the end, but up until then, it seemed to be near perfect.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's why they are the regular season champions, and they have the Conference Athlete of the Year in Casey Keir. And how rare is that to have a freshman come in and win such a high honor right off the bat?
It's very rare, but she has done an incredible job this season. Her tumbling is what you're going to see a lot of today and the rest of the weekend. She has an incredible 10.0 pass, which is actually very hard to complete as she completes multiple skills in that pass. So I think that's exciting, and I'm sure Coach Michaela, I haven't gotten to speak with her yet, but I know she has highly respective athletes in all events, and so I think she probably is very impressed with her.
Coach Michaela Soper of Limestone and Coach Ebony Jackson of Converse. Coach Ebony Jackson, her first year out of Winona State University. Abigail Haught is Converse's assistant coach. Joniah Howell, the assistant coach for Limestone. And as you heard in the public address announcement starting off, these two schools very close proximity to one another. Limestone and Gaffney, Converse and Spartanburg about 30 minutes apart. They know each other extremely well. So up first next here in the intro heat number 2, compulsory pyramid by Converse.
So right here you will see a 2-1-1 pyramid. Right here they go into a nice straddle position. We are going to flip off. Nice tight catches there. I think that was pretty good. This minor bobbles here and there, but overall very well executed.
Extremely well done by Converse. And they're looking as the 4 seed to upset really the apple cart big time for Limestone, as they're number 8 in the country. The top 8 teams in those rankings move on to the national meet. What type of pressure does that kind of put on Limestone? And Converse can come in here and just kind of be, so to speak, free to the wind and just do their own thing. All the pressure is strictly on Limestone, right?
It is a lot of pressure. I think one of the things that they do well is they focus on one meet at a time. So obviously we have to get through semis, and then we want to move forward into the championship. And I think she just wants to see them excel on the mat and execute every skill to help them advance, obviously. And then, this gives Converse an advantage to kind of have fun with the meet, and hopefully they perform well.
Yeah, be more loose, I guess. And here comes Limestone.
With the compulsory pyramid.
That's right, their turn on the mat.
Beautiful job. Coach Michaela was very happy with that one.
As she should be. Limestone. I didn't to my novice eye, I didn't see any flaws by Limestone in that one.
That was performed very well. You're correct. Next up, we will have the toss heat. So this is when you have 4 athletes tossing a top into the air. We are going to see a back tuck salto toss.
As we said, the 3rd year of this event, Conference Carolinas Championship, and the past 2 champions competing here in the semifinals today. Next up, Belmont Abbey and Coker in the afternoon session, or the second session we have. So there will be at least one team new to the championship event or championship round tomorrow, as we await Converse to take the mat for the compulsory event toss.
Beautiful.
That was.
Yes. So a lot of what we look for in toss is the extension from the top all the way, riding all the way to the top of that toss. And then we want to see a nice tight tucked position. And then it is called a tuck open. So they open to the back wall and come through nice and tight. So a lot of what the officials are looking for is that the extension on the top and also the extension from the bases and tight catches as they come through. And then you want to see a nice tight hollow body position from those tops as they come into that cradle position. But that right there was beautiful.
For Converse, they had 7 members of the all-conference team. Elena Manning, Jessica Holder, Sienna Brown on the first team. Chloe Cleland, Nia Jackson, Noah Ortiz, Emily Claire Carter on the second team for Limestone. Of course, we already mentioned Casey Keir, the conference athlete of the year. First team all-conference was Cameron King, Genesis Carson, Catherine Coker, Casey Keir, and Asaya Johnson. And now we welcome Limestone back onto the mat for their compulsory toss.
Beautiful job as well.
You saw Genesis Carson and Ariel Beat as the 2 that went in the air for Limestone. That
Beautiful
seemed to be
top
yeah,
position.
absolutely. Yeah, that seemed to be a toss-up there between both schools. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Or actually, yeah, I'm gonna throw a pun in there.
There you go. Yeah.
But no, very equally matched in that event.
Yes.
In that event there.
And this is what makes this so challenging in some ways is, they're comparing apples to apples, and here we are, and this is going to be a tight event.
Don't envy the judges today in any of the heats, but especially that one. Limestone applauding over there, very happy with their performance, and Coach Michaela Soper walked off. She walked up. Interesting, she comes over to this corner to our right from where we are to watch, and the Limestone coach kind of stands where she is, right by her team. So I guess each coach has a different perspective. Where did you like to go during your time?
So it just depended on what my athletes needed. But like, for instance, right now we're going to see compulsory tumbling, so we will have someone counting. Pretty in sync there. Nice sticks there. Right here, we're going to see a round-off back handspring layout. Going to see nice, tight body positions here. Small lack of synchronization, but overall, beautiful layout positions. They seem very happy with that one.
Absolutely, very well done by Converse. In that one, you could hear the counter in the background off to the left, kind of setting the pace for the heat.
Exactly. So just like I was saying before, I like to coach in the corner that the athletes liked. So wherever they wanted to see me on the mat. Coach Michaela does always walk, so that's obviously her consistent thing that she likes to do, is be on this side of the mat, which is great. I think that, again, it's preference from the coach, but as you saw there was an athlete counting, for her teammates on that side, depending on, what the athlete's preference is of having an athlete count or a coach or both. So that is what you just saw. So incredible tumbling. I think the timing overall I think they're really happy about it. So next we'll see Limestone.
Interesting to look at the makeup of the roster for Converse in that event. Of the participants, all sophomores and just one junior, so a very young team. Whereas the other side, it's kind of a mix for Limestone, who we're about to see, 2 seniors, 4 freshmen, and 2 juniors.
She's got a good mix on both sides, so that means that, in the future they're just going to keep building. So I think that's really important.
Keep your eye on number 9 for Limestone, Casey Keir. We've talked about her a number of times already, the Conference Athlete of the Year.
Yeah,
and this is her specialty.
This is her specialty, yeah. So tumbling is it for her. She has very strong landings. Obviously, her technique is beautiful as well. So you're going to see a lot of that today from both sides. Is strong technique, and in compulsory tumbling, what a lot of the difficulty is just being in synchronization the entire time.
Also, Catherine Coker, all conference as a freshman, wearing number 20. And here's Limestone for their compulsory tumbling.
That was a beautiful layout section there. I think she's pretty happy with that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had some minor bobbles just on the landings, things like that. That's going to happen. A lot of that is just because there's only 8 of you on the mat. It's a little bit of pressure. But obviously those standing passes. I'd also want to remind everyone who is watching, this is a hard dead mat, as what people like to call it. We do not have springs in this mat. So all of this is coming from their own training and strength and power. As you watch this, it's really incredible. Tumbling is probably one of my favorites. It's my favorite to coach and watch. So
very interesting that it is, as you say, a dead mat where there is nothing underneath but the hard basketball floor.
exactly.
And that mat is probably 4 inches thick.
It's 2.5 inches thick.
2.5.
3, yeah. Some mats are thicker than others.
So those are the first 4 intro heats of compulsory events. We are awaiting scoring by the judges, and we will then explain that. So as this is kind of a new sport on the national level, in the national collegiate level, what is it like on the high school level? How is it coming up?
So we are building a lot across the nation at different high school levels, where we are trying to, we have a youth acrobatics and tumbling program, so that it's actually growing a lot more. But a lot of these athletes, again, just as a reminder, they come from different backgrounds. So gymnastics, artistic gymnastics, we have acrobatic gymnastics, we have some are divers, swimmers. I actually had a soccer player on my team at one point. But she also did some tumbling on the side. And then we have some competitive cheerleaders or high school cheerleaders. So it's a really, at the youth level, it kind of just depends on your background. But we do have a youth acrobatics and tumbling program that has started to go nationwide. And so that's really, really awesome to see. At the high school level, it just depends on their background. But like I said, gymnastics is a big one that a lot of us will recruit from. Just if you aren't going to proceed in the gymnastics world and go to collegiate gymnastics, then this is a great option for them.
So as we said, we completed the first event. While the combined results of the event and our meet standards are being tabulated, introducing the next event, the acro event. This marks the beginning of the optional portion of the meet. Each team will compete with skills previously chosen with different possible start values, which we will explain in a moment. There will be between 2 and 4 athletes on the floor in each of the 3 heats. Heat 1 has 5 elements. Heat 2 has 6 elements. Heat 3 has 7 elements. The start value is determined by the difficulty and combination of each skill. In addition, each position must be held for 3 seconds. This event demonstrates power, strength, and balance. So basically, in layman's terms, what that means with the different possible start values, that means that is as high as their scoring could possibly be.
Correct. So it is based off of the difficulty of the skills, but this is probably one of the coolest portions, I think, to watch that strength and poise from these student athletes as they go out on the mat. You're going to see a lot of one-to-one, which would be one base structure holding one top in the air, or 2-to-1. So it just depends, but this gives those athletes kind of their time to show off their strength and skills.
Conference Carolinas has a rich tradition and roots that dates back to its initial inception on December 6, 1930. Conference Carolinas believes in the development and formation of the whole person in body, mind, and soul. Our student athletes are nationally recognized for their extraordinary success in the classroom and the community at the highest levels of NCAA competition. Please visit conferencecarolinas.com to learn more about Conference Carolinas and the many, many championships that are sponsored by Conference Carolinas. And some people may ask that are just dropping in to see what this is all about. Why is Robbie and Miranda at Lander University most of the time a member of the Peach Belt Conference, but in acrobatics and tumbling they are a member of Conference Carolinas, kind of an adjunct member, I guess you could say.
Correct. And now we are going to listen to the scores. So we are at the toss heat. Converse with a 9.600. And Limestone with a 9.75. And with Tumbling, Converse with an 8.00. And Limestone with an 8.225. and we have a close meet here. Our compulsory totals are Converse 36.275 and Limestone 37.025.
So interesting. I felt that the tumbling was the strongest of both teams, but yet it scored the least.
There is a lot of things to deduct from. Obviously, you have 8 kids on the mat, so
Yeah.
that would definitely make it harder. And right here, we're going to move on to the acro event, 5-element acro heat.
And of course, Converse remains going first as the lower seed.
As you see, that was nice. So 1-1. And she's going to pop around.
Chloe Cleland, Sienna Brown, Aiko Harada, Nia Jackson, and Malia Barrett on the mat for Converse.
She's going to go into an inverted skill. So this is our hand-to-hand, 1-1.
Nia Jackson, the base. Aiko Harada was the one on top.
And that hand-in-hand inversion. So overall, what you just saw there was the 5-element acro. So there's 5 different elements performed in that sequence. And as they did, you saw a little bobble there from that base where when she popped around, she had a little bit of a step. Again, that does happen. But overall, they did execute fairly well, and we'll see what the judges think.
So as we said after the first round of events, it's pretty close. 37.025 for Limestone, 36.275 for Converse. And if you're Converse as the 4 seed trying to knock off the top seed and nationally ranked Limestone team, is that about where you want to be score-wise after the first 4?
Absolutely, yes. So definitely keeping it tight after compulsory is important. It also sets the tone for the rest of the meet for these athletes. As you can tell, you have to be mentally tough to do this sport and be able to go out there, and you have so many options to perform. And for us, like myself as a coach, I used to always say, get all the points you can. So as you walk out there, you want to execute to the best of your ability and allow yourself to be great. So this is what they're going to do out here, and I'm excited. So like I said, they did execute, and they hit each of those elements that they needed to hit. So that is a huge positive on that end, and we're going to watch Limestone hopefully do the same. So
for Limestone in this event, it'll be Kat Coker, Cameron King, Alicia Lefkowitz, Marlena Costanzo, and Gabrielle Carter.
And their start value is at a 10.0 for this. And Converse that just competed, their 5-element was a 9.75. So you'll see a little bit more difficulty in this next heat. And it looks like the officials are ready to go. So next up is Limestone. Number 24, Cameron King. She is a strong base, and I love to watch her.
All-conference first team.
Good. That was a 180 up.
That's Marlena Costanzo.
Position.
Sorry.
No, you're good. That is a 1-1 extended position. That back base is going to come in. She does a 360 twist down to the ground.
Kat Coker, a freshman, going up now.
It's a 360 to shoulders. Now we're going to watch her perform her hand-to-hand high. This is a 1-1. Beautiful job. Nice. Coach Michaela is very, very pleased with that one. I think that's a new sequence for them. I haven't seen that extra 360 up, so very strong structurally, and as you can see, that top was holding that position for 3 seconds.
That was impressive.
Yeah, very.
Absolutely.
That 1-1, people underestimate that, but these athletes are incredibly strong. Myself as a top, when I competed, that was always I preferred the one-to-one bases. I came from a cheerleading background, and so that was really fun for me. But those hand-to-hand skills, even harder. That comes from the acrobatic gymnastics world. And so those handstand positions, we've evolved tremendously in the sport.
And Kat Coker, the freshman, was fantastic for Limestone there.
Absolutely.
Moving in now to the 6-element acro event. A little more advanced, a little more action, I guess you could say.
Correct.
Moving into a 6th element versus just a 5-element that we just saw.
Correct. And this heat is going to be a synchronized heat. So this is actually the first year we are competing as a synchronized heat. And this, again, makes it more difficult for our sport, which I absolutely love. So you're going to see 2 groups performing the same skills. And Converse is going to come out with a 9.4 start value.
And for Converse, Jessica Holder, Jasmine Williams, Mason Turner, Lydia Redmond, Josie McDevitt, Noah Ortiz, Mackenzie Leary, Ayana Manning, and Carson Lucy on the mat.
A little bit of a bobble there on the left side, but great recovery. A 1-2 release. Into a back tuck salto off. Beautiful straddle position on the right. Nice synchronization there. Great save on that left side there, but that was incredible.
So Converse with their 6-element acro event.
So the difficulty on that is that you have to have 2 groups performing those high-level skills at the same time. And so a lot of what you'll find is you have maybe 1 or 2 groups that are really good at their acro sequence, and to be able to throw that 3rd group in as they compete is really awesome. So I think they should be pretty happy with that one, especially with that recovery.
And now Limestone awaits the judges to tell them to take the mat. And for Limestone, it will be Jessica Holder, Jasmine Williams, Mason Turner, Lydia Redmond, Josie McDevitt, Noah Ortiz, Mackenzie Leary, Ayana Manning, and Carson Lucy. No, that was Converse. Yeah. So now we're going to see, and I'm going to read the right ones. Riley Rossman, Casey Keir, Savannah Venters, Brianne Popejoy, Morgan Bramble, Alex Long, Genesis Carson, Janae Brown, and Avery Kepke.
And they also have a 10.0 start value on this as well.
So in your opinion, is it Converse had a 9.4 start value and Limestone's having a 10.0? In your expertise and your experience, did you say let's just go for a 10.0 because there's a little more room for error? Am I seeing that right?
Yes. So what you want to focus on is that execution, because the officials are looking at these athletes and deducting things that they may see. So there are times that we used to say, all right, let's just do it. Let's reach for the stars. But I would only want to compete those skills if we were confident in them. Beautiful 180 up to shoulders. Nice synchronization. And another pop around 180. And that was a 1-to-1 extension position. Now we're going to go to our inverted skill. That was a great save over here on that right side. Once again, that 1-to-1 position, it's a lot of strength, but if you don't have the right grip, sometimes it can make it a little shakier, but she did an incredible job right there holding that in the air. And that top, you couldn't even tell anything was going on down there. So very, very impressive, especially with that 10.0 start value, like you were saying. You know, Coach Michaela is taking that risk.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome, and it's really good to see, especially at the Division II level. I love to watch these athletes that can compete.
And now we'll move into the 7-element heat.
Yes.
Converse will be first throughout the meet as the lower seed.
And this 7-element acro is going to go back to that one group, so they can kind of have their own twist up to their event sequence. So what I love about this one is there's so many different ways that, you know, as a coach you can connect these skills to create that 10.0 start value. So right here you're going to see Converse is starting with a 9.8 start value. So again, it just depends on the athletes that you have and what you're confident in putting out on the mat.
And as we saw in the first round of heats, continuing to be very close between both schools, with less than a point separating them on the scoreboard so far. And if I were to guess, after the first two heats in this event, still right there close to each other.
Very close, yes. Obviously that start value is, you know, as the 10.0 for Limestone will probably help them get a little bit of an edge on that. But again, you just never really know. It's kind of the game. That's just what we do.
Does length of time, this seems to be taking a little bit longer than we've seen. Does length of time
sometimes
say
can
anything
get
about
to them.
the scoring? Yeah.
Yes and no. You know, sometimes today we have 4 officials where there usually are 3. So we have 2 execution officials on each side, and so it will take a little longer for them to score.
So here comes Converse, as we mentioned, 9.80 starting value in this 7-element heat.
Nice core strength there from that top and the base. Good. Nice laid out position. And she did another tuck position on that one. Now we'll go into our straddle pop over to inverted skill. Number 12 there is going to take a deep breath, but she's relieved that it's over. She did a great job though. So again, just minor bobbles with that little step from the base, number 29. But other than that, they should be proud of themselves. Those body positions were very nice.
Number 12, Sienna Brown. So now we wait for Limestone to complete this third heat. Up next will be the pyramid event, as we are here in the first semifinal of the 2023 Conference Carolinas Acrobatics and Tumbling Championship. Robbie Ross joined by Miranda Murkison here at Lander University Horn Arena. Coming up next, our second semifinal will be between Belmont Abbey and Coker. And of course, all this leads to tomorrow's Championship Sunday, with the individual finals beginning at 12 and then the team championship round beginning at 5 o'clock. All right here on the Conference Carolinas Digital Network. Home for every Conference Carolinas championship throughout the academic and athletic season. So here comes Limestone.
We're going to watch Cameron King, number 24, is back out on the mat with number 36.
That's Genesis Carson, also Avery Kepke, Haley Fox, and an undeclared member, which they're only going with 4.
They are.
Genesis Carson wears number 36. Great base there by Cameron King.
Yes, incredible. Nice, very beautiful 360 twist off to the ground. So now that fourth athlete's going to hop in there. And here we go, popping over to that nice inverted position. Beautiful. Coach Michaela is very happy with that one. As you could tell, there were no steps. The base structure was extremely sturdy.
Oh, yeah.
Top was in a beautiful position. Genesis has a way of looking like super tough. And I love that about a top is she just doesn't let anything bother her underneath her. And so I think that was really incredible, to be honest. Minor deductions there.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So that completes the acro event while the combined results and our meet standings are tabulated. Next up, the pyramid event will be our final event in the first half. In the pyramid event, athletes will build 3 layers in a structure. The start value of each heat is determined by the difficulty and combination of the entry, structure, and dismount. The pyramid event has 3 different heats with different requirements for each heat. Heat 1 must have an inversion, Heat 2 must be synchronized, and Heat 3 is an open heat. 2 key things the officials will be looking for are the position of the top and the stability of the structure. So a little bit more in depth and a little bit more detailed and a lot more going on, it seems, in this pyramid event coming up.
Yes, there's a lot more athletes on the mat typically for a pyramid event than you see an acro event. Just depends on the skill set that they have selected to compete today. But the synchronized heat, what you're going to see, I know Limestone competes a very difficult skill where almost every athlete is on the mat. So it's really fun to watch. But definitely a lot more going on. But it's kind of where you can use your different techniques. So you're going to see a bridge position. You're going to see a lot of thigh stand positions where the bases are supported, the mid level and the thigh stand, and then yeah, I think it's really fun. That synchronized heat will be pyramid heat 2 will be our synchronized, so that you'll see the 2 groups synchronized at the same time. But I really love pyramid event as well because that open heat is a very, you can kind of do what you want to create that start value. So I know you're going to see a lot of toss up all the way to the top where that mid level is standing on. So you're 3.5 high or 3 high. So you're, kind of all the way up there, and it's kind of scary.
Look forward to that. And remember, down below, only a 2.5-inch dead mat. So you don't want to be all the way up top and then find your way on down to the bottom. So here comes the scoring.
Converse with an 8.375. And Limestone with a 9.675. Converse with a 7.975. And Limestone with a 7.800. Converse with an 8.850. And there's that 9.825 for Limestone. So Converse with an acro event total of 25.20 and Limestone with a 27.30.
So you saw Limestone kind of extend their self out in front after a very close introduction to heat.
So our running total is 61.475 to 64.325. So Limestone did get that little edge there. We're going to watch Converse perform their inversion pyramid. So you're going to see that inverted skill at the top. body position. She's fighting that through, doing a pike through body position. You're going to see her flip off to the ground there. That's an incredible. So as you saw, she was in a handstand position all the way at the top. She had those 2 bases in the mid, and then you have your thigh stand position at the bottom.
That made my triceps hurt watching it.
Yes, a lot of strength, a lot of, you have to counterbalance each other. So, yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Fantastic for Converse there in their first heat of the pyramid.
With a 10.0 start value. So there you go. You see their strength is in those pyramids. So you'll kind of see the comparison this time.
Absolutely. And now we await Limestone. And as we mentioned, they kind of extended that lead out to a pretty big 3 points, almost a full 3 points after that second event.
Which, if you think about the start values being lower on Converse side, I think that's actually probably where she thought she would be. So I think this is good. They're going to hang in there.
And she kind of hoping to make things up in the pyramid.
Correct. Then. Yeah, that's Coach Jackson's probably like, we know that we can make up some points here. So once again with my get every point you can.
That's right.
Motto.
Well, it's not a bad motto to have.
Now we're going to watch Limestone.
Another 10.0, yeah, another 10.0 start value. And for Limestone, Kat Coker, Cameron King, Avery Kepke, Susanna Balderstone. First time we've said her name today. Savannah Venters, Haley Allen, Gabrielle Carter, and Janae Brown.
Go to a 180 up to shoulders. So this is a 1 base, 1 mid base. With an extended hand-to-hand. Nice hold. There we go. Very, very pleased with that one. That is where that strength plays a role.
Absolutely.
With Cameron King.
Yeah, that 1-to-1. You're just the only 2 out there.
You are. It's a very strong extended position. So what you saw there, the lack of stability is minor, but it's going to happen in those inverted skills. But Cameron King was pretty strong in holding Kat in the air. So I think that's pretty awesome to watch. They have really worked on these handstand positions, and that is what sets them apart a little bit. So, we'll kind of see what they do in the synchronized heats.
So 2 more heats in the pyramid before halftime. Next up, as Miranda just said, the synchronized heat 2. And start values for Converse in this one is another 10.0. Yep. So we will see how they
execute. Yeah.
So Mason Turner, Riley Coley, Sienna Brown, Chloe Cleland, Lydia Redmond, Ayana Manning, Josie McDevitt, Mackenzie Leary, Hannah Baker, and Isha Nagaretti, along with Nia Jackson out on the mat for Converse.
So there's that bridge position that I was just speaking of. And that mid base is freestanding, so there's no one supporting their back. They're going to go to 270 up to a straddle position. Nice synchronization there, beautiful straddle positions. A 360 release, twist down to the ground, and that was beautiful. I was very, very, very happy with that one.
Tell you what, that was something.
Yeah. You've never seen anything like that, have you?
I have not. Boy, what pressure on the mid?
Yes. Mid and the bridge, which would be the base. That bridger, it is really incredible to watch. So you have to be flexible in your shoulders, but also really strong in your legs.
But the thing is, you're closer to the ground, so you're fine. That mid, you're just kind of out there.
You are. So that freestanding position, they have to have a lot of core strength. Make sure that top is very supportive, but also that, that base on the bottom is holding 3 girls on her own.
Yeah.
So I think that's always really impressive. Our bridge pyramids were the ones that, we really focused on because we had a lot of talent in that area. But the hands to feet position that you're going to see Limestone do is also very incredible. and shows off a different strength.
And for folks tuning in, see the main mat in front of us. The two side mats are mats that teams can use at any time during the meet to practice their routines.
Their sequence,
their sequences.
their next event, yeah.
So they can do whatever they want, anytime they want on their own personal mat. But, of course, only the competition and scoring on the main mat. And here comes the entire Limestone team.
Yes, that's what I was referring to, but this is pretty incredible. Beautiful synchronization there. So what you just saw was those athletes were tossed from the ground all the way to that extended position, that hand-to-foot position with those bases, the mid-levels. So that is pretty incredible to watch. Those little tops go all the way up in the air, and they're caught. So that is not a pyramid you see too often. So they have really worked on that. They did compete it last year, and she just kept those same groups, and she was like, we're just going to do it again. So really, really awesome to watch, but that was very minimal deductions. So we should see a very high score on that one.
Very impressive by Limestone to bring everyone, for the most part, in uniform out onto the mat. And they were very pleased, as was Coach as well.
And so, see, that's a little bit of that creativity as a coach that you can kind of add into your sequences is, you know, what are your strengths? And so, as you saw, Converse, that was beautiful as well with a 10.0 start value. Very different pyramids, but, you know, it gives you that creativity and, you know, individuality for your team to be able to go out there and perform.
Probably adds a little bit of pressure because a lot of those ladies for Limestone have been inactive since, you know, warm-ups.
Correct.
And then to watch the first few heats and then all of a sudden have to pop out and to compete. So a very high-pressure situation as well when you include everybody that hasn't been as active early on as some.
Yes, yes. Now we're going to watch Converse with the very similar pyramid that you just watched.
And this is the first event in the open pyramid.
Yes. Nice, very well caught at the top. Nice tight touches there. They're very, very happy with that one. Well executed. If you notice, there was minor bobbles. That stability of the structure was very strong. And I think they made up some points there.
Yeah.
So.
Emily Claire Carter was the top athlete of the pyramid, and I was watching her specifically as a top athlete in that position. Her eyes were focused almost halfway up to the roof. Is that do you find a point in practice,
yes,
or when you come in the building you say, this is where I need to focus my vision point?
Absolutely. So what you probably saw her doing was focusing on where she's going to go. So obviously your body goes where your eyes go. And so as a coach, if you're a top and you're looking down, you're probably going to go down towards the floor. So that's probably something that she was either taught or focused on. So yeah, you'll see. And I love that they're encouraging each other on the mat. That is a big team camaraderie part of this sport that, you know, kind of takes the pressure off a little bit when you practice the way that you're supposed to perform. And so as you saw, Josie McDevitt, she was over there, you know, cheering them on and, you know, telling them exactly the cues that they needed to hear, especially for that top, which gives her that confidence. So she did a great job there.
And now we await Limestone and their open pyramid, and We'll wait for scoring and then head into halftime before we get into the toss event in the second half. So here comes Limestone.
Here you see that duo again with Genesis and Cameron King. Beautiful body position, stability. Takes a lot to control that down back to shoulders. Nice tight catches there. Beautiful job.
That's flawless.
Pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, maybe not as in-depth and detailed as Converse in that. So, I mean, maybe look to see Converse to pick up a few points in that heat 3.
Possibly. I think that the stability of that structure that you just saw was definitely 10.0 worthy. And to me, again, I always get a little excited, but I think everybody deserves 10s at one point, and especially if they're out on the floor. So they did a great job there.
You like the bases.
Oh, I love to
picked
watch
up on
that strength. Because it is really hard. I mean, I was the top, so for me, like, obviously I would, like, hype up my bases, like, hold me tight and I'm good. Like, I'll do my job, you do yours. So everybody does have a job, and I think what's cool to watch is the strength coming from that bottom, because if you don't have a strong, sturdy bottom, that top is typically not as sturdy. So it's really nice to watch those bases with that strong strength.
And keep an eye on that heat 3 when the scores come out, to see if there was a big point differential between the two teams, and then of course Converse looking to make up at least a point or so to get a little closer at halftime.
Oh, absolutely. And this is a challenging time during the pyramids, because with these 10.0 start values, you want to get as many points as you can, and then they kind of take a breather, and then we get into toss, tumbling, and team event, which is obviously the faster paced events. So I know for when I coached our team, I used to be like, refuel, let's, refresh, whatever happened in the first half, leave it there. And then when we come back for the second half, come out strong.
Yeah.
So, it kind of gives everybody a breather for a minute. But I think that both teams should be very pleased with their performance so far.
It's been exciting, to say the least, already.
Yeah. Which I obviously expected between these two as a matchup. Pretty competitive, so it's a lot of fun to watch. I think Conference Carolinas as a whole is extremely competitive at the Division II level, so I've always been a big fan of how conference has come to fruition.
Here comes the scoring.
9.400 for Converse. And 9.675 for Limestone. 9.525 for Converse. And 9.800 for Limestone. 9.750. 9.825 for Limestone. Still got a lot of points there.
Yeah.
And our for the event, we have Converse with a 28.675, and we have Limestone with a 29.30, leaving our running total to Converse with a 90.150, and Limestone with a 93.626.
So before we go into halftime, a 3.5-point difference in favor of Limestone. Is that insurmountable for Converse at this point, or they still feel like they're pretty good right there in it?
I think they still feel pretty good. I mean, it is a lot, but at the same time, we still have 3 more events left. and there's a lot of points that could be made up. There's 6 heats in the tumbling event, so that's a lot of those points that we can make up there. But I definitely think that they should be very pleased to have those high scores out of the pyramid event. So,
do you think Converse may feel a little disappointed maybe that they didn't get a few more points or in the pyramid event, where they seemed like, I thought at least in that third heat, that theirs would take over Limestone, but they still fell by about 3/4 of a point.
Yeah, so that's kind of the hard part. I don't think that they should be disappointed. They got all the points they could out of that. Still being in the 9-5 range out of a 10 is incredible. You remember, 4 officials.
Yeah.
You have a lot more eyes on you. And the things that they're looking at, are a little different than what a fan like you would just be watching. So they're highly trained, and they're able to find those little things to deduct on. So, again, as a coach, I'd be very pleased. And, again, first half is over. Now we're going to focus on that second half, and they're going to take a little break.
All right, we'll do so as well. We'll be back for the second half between Limestone and Converse. You're watching the 2023 Conference Carolinas Acrobatics and Tumbling Championship on the Conference Carolinas Digital Network. Conference Carolinas is committed to aligning with businesses that share our common values and, like us, strive to attain excellence and virtue in all endeavors. We work hard to make our corporate partnerships a truly beneficial relationship through mutually agreed upon customization that will lead to unparalleled exposure. Conference Carolinas would like to thank our current corporate partners at Atlantic Casualty Insurance Company, Audience Rent, Barnes & Noble College, Bob McCloskey Insurance, Bufkin Baker, Cambria Hotel Greenville, Championship Award Guys, Digital Scoreboards, Herf Jones, Hometown Ticketing, Hour-a-thon, Huddle, Marriott Spartanburg, McGriff Insurance Services, McMillan Posden Smith Plus Incorporated, Score Shots, SCS by Floor Action Incorporated, Sidearm Sports, Southern Recognition LLC, South State Bank, Ticket Smarter, Toledo Ticket Technologies, and Vernon Graphics and Promotions. Also, We Played Sports. Please visit conferencecarolinas.com to learn more about Conference Carolinas corporate partners. The first event of the second half is the toss event. Here you will see 4 athletes toss a teammate into the air. The teammate tossed in the air, known as the top, will execute a flip or twist before being caught. There are 3 heats in this event. The synchronized toss features 2 toss groups. These groups should look exactly alike and be in sync. The start value of the toss depends on the skills at the top executes in the air. Officials will be looking for height, the top's body position, and tight catches by the bases. Robbie Ross, joined as always today and tomorrow by Miranda Murkison. This is the second half of the first semifinal in the 2023 Conference Carolinas Acrobatics and Tumbling Championship. At halftime, our score reads Limestone 93.625, leading Converse 90.150. And if you're just joining us, Limestone ranked number 8 in the nation. And the Conference Carolinas regular season champion, Converse, the 4 seed in this event. And we are getting ready for the second half. And Miranda, what are you looking for in the toss event to see if Converse can make up that 3.5-point difference that they face?
Yeah, so right here we have a start value of a 9.9. She will be going up in the air, doing a double twist. So this is going to be a back salto toss.
Noah Ortiz is number 9 for Converse.
Nice. Strong execution for them. She's been really working on that toss. And I know all the coaches are very pleased with that one. So as you notice, there was a little bit of feet crossed in the middle of the air, so that will be a deduction. But overall, body position-wise, much better than we've seen her perform before, and then obviously a strong catch. But overall, I think this toss event is going to be close. So we have close start values on both ends. They actually have the same exact start values. And so you're going to see that same toss being performed by Limestone with a 9.9 start value. So we're going to be comparing apples to apples, I think.
And as you mentioned in the first half, 4 judges at the championship level versus only 3 during the regular season.
Correct. So again, more eyes on the mat, watching all of the athletes. So We have execution officials for bases and tops. So again, those 2 and 2, and then we have our head official who is looking at the overall. So they're highly trained, like I said, and if anyone is interested, you can go to the ncata.org, and you can check that out on careers. And we also have head coach positions open, assistant coach positions, all of that. So please take a look at that if you're interested.
Here comes Limestone. And be Kat Coker wearing number 20 going up.
Nice. Yeah, so what you saw there is the same exact toss that Converse just executed. So with her body position, they chose to angle to the side a little bit. So she's probably going to get a piked body position as she came through a little bit as a deduction there. But overall, extension from the top and the bases, very strong catches, all of that. So again, that's a 9.9 start value. So that's the highest you'll see today in that toss event. Very impressive to watch. Tosses are very hard to execute perfectly. So especially, with so many moving parts, you're tossing all the humans in the air.
That's right.
And we have to catch them. So
yeah, very important part.
People forget about that.
Yeah. That's probably the most important part.
It is the most important, absolutely. But obviously we want to see that strong execution so that we get the minimal deductions from those. So next is the synchronized toss heat. And in this, we have a 9.4 start value for both Limestone and Converse. They are performing a back salto layout 360.
So here comes Converse for their synchronized toss. Noah Ortiz on the left, Sienna Brown on the right.
Yes, and that was executed very nicely. So as you saw, there was two groups perfectly synchronized. I would say probably a lack of extension a little bit on that left side as she had to pike through, but overall very strong catches. I think that the top on the right over here, Sienna, she was really extended. So you can kind of see that difference. I believe you'll see the difference when Limestone comes out too. But a lot of that, again, you want to get to the peak height of that skill. So a lot of it is the extension coming from the bases and the top, making sure that timing is perfect. So many moving elements to watch, especially as they have to execute perfectly.
And it seemed they did so.
Yes, very good job.
So next up will be Limestone in the synchronized toss, and then the third heat will be the open toss, which is, I guess, what they can pick on their own.
Correct.
So another 9.40 start value for the Saints. Again, Kat Coker will be on the right. And looks like Riley Rossman on the left.
Yes, well executed. As you can see, those nice, tight, hollow body positions when they come into that cradle position, that's what you want to see. We want to see that height and then the nice, pretty twist in the top. And then right as soon as you come through, that nice, tight, hollow body position before the catch. Looked pretty in sync to me. Maybe a minor pike through on one side, but overall pretty well executed.
Now I noticed Kat Coker got a little higher.
Yeah,
so is that a point deduction, or is that just based on, you can't really judge or take away from strength or lack thereof, maybe from your bases?
Sometimes it's a height thing where the bases are taller on one side. So it's not necessarily a deduction as long as the toss itself was in sync. So
which I felt it was.
Yes,
it was just
very.
it's kind of a, it's kind of a gravity thing, really. I mean, you can't judge gravity, I don't think.
Correct, yeah. So some of that is, but she may get a lack of extension on the opposite side where Riley's side was. But again, you have the officials doing their job,
That's right.
trying to figure that out.
Yeah. I would have a hard time taking points away based on
The structure of the grouping.
structure and
Yeah.
physical, I mean, the physical nature of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here comes the open toss for Converse.
We have Sienna up there in the air as the top. It's going to perform that box salto 360. Nice toe point there.
Yeah.
So you want to see her rise a little more before the catch. So as you saw, her toes were directly down. We want to see them in that nice hollow body position before she comes through. But overall, very, very well executed. I think they're pretty happy with that too.
Mm-hmm.
This is also a direct comparison,
Yeah.
score-wise. So I think that they can hang with them or maybe gain some points.
So we'll have some scoring and update the overall after this last toss that Limestone's getting set to perform. Which this is an open toss here in this third heat, so each team creates their own.
Correct. It's based off of the skill, the execution, what they think that they're going to get the most points out of. With this, they're going to their start value is a 9.4. So they're going to execute that same back salto 360 toss that you just saw Sienna perform from Converse.
Be Riley Rossman again being the tossee.
She's the top in this. You see you have a front base, a back base, and two side bases. Great save by those bases. She did go off towards the back a little bit. So as you saw, that would be probably a lack of extension there from that top. The goal is to stay directly over those bases to make sure that you get ample height of this skill. But overall, her body position itself was beautiful. And they didn't take steps. With some minor travel.
And with that little bit pushed to the back, come from the bases with the initial toss, or
it
just
can come from the top. A lot of times it is the top because if the top is not directly over them, like their shoulders in line with their toes, then their body is going to go backwards just automatically. So you really want the top to have their arms in a fully extended position at the top, watching their toes pull through, and then as they come through in that cradle, a nice tight hollow body position. So again, overall, not awful. She did a great job at like those bases, just pulled her back. But again, you're going up in the air and you're twisting, so sometimes that will happen. But they seem okay with it, and they're getting as many points as they can.
And scoring is underway now. Conference Carolinas is where tradition is unmatched and excellence is earned daily. Our 13 current member institutions work hard daily to build champions in mind, body, and soul. It's who we are. Please visit conferencecarolinas.com to learn more about Conference Carolinas. Mentioned the 13 current members. Those are the 13 full-time members. We're here at Lander, and they are a part-time member for this event, or for this sport. Along, I think you told me there's a couple.
Yeah, so Limestone is also a part of SAC.
Yes.
And so they are an affiliate member in acrobatics and tumbling. Coker, who is here as well. And then you'll see Mars Hill in the event finals. They're also part of the SAC. So we're very, very blessed to be able to have a conference tournament. When we first started, we didn't have as many as schools just in Conference Carolinas. So this was how we were able to create a championship for all of us who had the sport. And so we're thankful for that.
Yeah.
I know for us, when I was coaching, that was like my main goal, to be able to allow these student athletes to have a championship stage to be able to compete on other than the national level. So this allows these student athletes to have that championship experience.
And, of course, Limestone looking to advance to the national championship meet as they are ranked number 8 in the country right now. They are right there on the cusp, inside the cut line, I guess you could say, to make it to the national championship. So a performance this weekend has to be
it's crucial.
Yeah, very crucial.
So we have our scores coming in. And we're gaining some points here. All right, we have our running totals. So Converse gained some points there. Toss event total, we have Converse at a 27.350, Limestone with a 27.30. Our overall is we have Limestone 120.925 to Converse 117.5.
And the individual heats, notice that Limestone won the first one 9.675 to 9.3. But then the other two, Converse kind of edged ahead, 8.875 over 8.7 in the second one, 9.175 and 8.925 for Limestone. And that one that we saw where there was some backing away.
Yeah.
So we move to the tumbling event, 6 heats. The first 3 are synchronized group tumbling, a duo, a trio, and a quad. And here comes Converse with a duo.
The nice round off back handspring, 1.5. And that timing was great. I think they're very, very happy with that.
So a duo, a trio, and a quad. The last 3 are individual tumbling passes. The start value of each heat are determined by the difficulty and combination of skills in each pass. Officials will be looking for body position, continuity of skills, and technique in each skill. So those 2 for Converse were Ashlyn Voorhees and Noah Ortiz. And now we're getting set for Genesis Carson and Asia Johnson for Limestone.
You'll see the start values for Limestone are going to be a little higher in some events, or some heats. And you'll see this pass that they're about to perform for their duo is a 9.6 start value, whereas Converse just performed a 9.1 start value.
Genesis Carson will be wearing number 36. Asia Johnson wearing number 5. They're awaiting the thumbs up from the judges. Little stumble on the finish there by Ashlyn Voorhees. Will that be?
So you're allowed to have that one controlled step. So if she was dragging her back foot, and kind of like leaning over to the side, yes, that would be a deduction. But you do have to clarify that as a coach to the officials. Okay, so a little bit of a lack of synchronization from number 5. But as you saw, they performed a front handspring, front tuck, round off back handspring, 1.5. And they are allotted that controlled step. So, other than the lack of synchronization, individually they have, great body lines, pointed toes, feet together, all of those things that those officials are looking for. So, that might not hurt them too bad. So I'm sure Coach Michaela is not happy as she usually would be, but she's going to hype up her trio over there to gain back some points.
Lack of synchronization, basically one was lagging behind the other.
Correct. So you want them to look identical.
So we move to the trio for Converse. It'll be number 8, Nia Jackson. Number 17, Ayanna Manning. And number 5, Krissa Gaines. First time we've mentioned Krissa Gaines today for Converse. So
She has great tumbling. Last year, she was a freshman, and I remember watching. She had a bunch of whip passes, so a lot of salto passes with no hands. So I'm pretty sure you're going to see that again today.
Look forward to that. 3 sophomores tumbling here in this trio for Converse, as they await the judges' thumbs up, trying to stay loose over there, walking around talking to their teammates, and I think we're ready here.
There's those whip passes. That's very hard to synchronize. There's the 3 of them. The 2 whips to a full, which would be a back layout 360. And they're allowed that controlled step as well. So I'm not sure if Nia stepped off the mat back there. But if she didn't, great job for them. I think the synchronization was great. That is what you want to see.
That was very good by the sophomore trio in the trio for Converse. And now the tumbling trio of Kat Coker, Casey Keir, and Michaela Noser. Of course, we've talked about Casey Keir all day. She is the Athlete of the Year in Conference Carolinas, and as you said, this is her specialty.
This is her specialty, as well as Kat. Actually, she's a little all-around athlete, and she does really well in tumbling. So we'll see both of them in this heat.
2 freshmen and a sophomore. Kat Coker was all over the toss portion of the meet that we just saw here in the first event after halftime. And so 2 freshmen, 2 rising stars. Well, they're already stars. 2 stars in the conference for Limestone.
Yeah, actually a lot of these teams are fairly young. In the past, we've graduated bigger classes as we started programs here in the conference. So I think it's really awesome to see those young athletes who are coming out of the high school level and able to execute well and perform on the mat just as well as these seniors or juniors. So it's really fun. It looks like we're ready.
And here we go with the trio from Limestone.
Small bit of lack of synchronization there, but overall very beautiful tumbling passes. So you just saw a run-off back handspring 1.5 with that controlled 1-step from that trio from Limestone. Overall, I think that was performed really well.
Absolutely.
So the start value difference in those, Limestone just performed at 9.1 start value, whereas Converse performed a 9.15.
Okay.
So look for those scores to be fairly close there. Based on their execution, it just depends.
Yep.
So.
And I think, that was, other than a little stubble, and, we'll see. And, of course, we don't have no way of knowing, as you mentioned, did Converse step off the mats in that initial. But, Limestone was nowhere near the end of the mat. They finished up right in front of us. As they didn't want to risk that being anywhere near close to that.
Never want to risk that, but also for safety reasons. So.
Yes. So now we move to the quad pass for Converse. It'll be Lauren Gamble wearing number 2, number 29, Chloe Cleland, number 1, Mason Turner, and number 21, Mackenzie Leary.
Another very young group.
All 4 sophomores, yes.
Very in sync.
Very much so.
Yes, you saw a run-off back handspring, back layout 360 with that controlled step. As you saw, that's very hard to do with four people. Make sure that they're all in sync, even on that clean body position. So
that may have been the most in sync
you've seen today.
Tumbling we've seen, yeah. And for them all 4 to do it is very impressive.
And we will see the same exact pass from Limestone in their quad.
And in their quad for Limestone will be Haley Fox wearing number 13, number 8, Emily St. Onge, number 12, Brianna Popejoy, and number 33, Avery Kepke. Junior, 2 freshmen, and a sophomore. As they are set and ready to go, waiting on the judges' thumbs up.
And I think we're ready. They're having trouble hearing the announcer.
Yeah.
So same exact thing you just saw, and again, that's going to be a tight score, I believe, from both sides.
That is. That was very in sync as well. Both. It's crazy that the quads were more in sync than the trios and the duos.
It also has to do with the skill level. So, I know
the lower start value.
Correct, and all of our athletes, are coming from that gymnastics background or competitive cheerleading, but definitely getting them synchronized is extremely important. But as you see, the back layout 360 is not as difficult per se as the full and a half, or the multiple skills, salto skills that you saw from Limestone and the duo pass. So a lot of that's kind of part of it,
yeah.
But you'll see a lot more of that today.
So now we go to the first aerial pass for single athletes. And it'll be Krissa Gaines wearing number 5 for Converse.
With a 9.9 start value, so you're going to see, I believe, those whips again that we were speaking about. What you just witnessed was 3 aerial passes into the last aerial pass, or aerial skill, excuse me. So you saw she used her hands 1 time. So
she did. You're right. Now that I think back, you're right.
Yeah, so again, we are on a hard surface. We are not on spring, so that's always really impressive to watch. Body lines on there weren't necessarily perfect, so what the officials are looking for is that long extended whip body position, feet together, nice height and extension on that set, and then again, like that very laid out position in that twist element. So, but overall, very, very strong landing, stayed on the mat, all those good things. I think they're pretty happy with it.
Genesis Carson up for Limestone, first team all-conference performer this season for the regular season champion Limestone Saints.
Yes, and her start value is a 9.60. So that was great. She's very happy with that one. She just did a front handspring, front tuck, round off back handspring, 1.5. Beautiful landing. Maybe a little bit of an under rotation, as you saw. She kind of leaned on her heels a little bit. So you want to be directionally over yourself to be able to get that great landing position. But overall, great body positions from her. She's been in every event, I believe, and she's a great athlete.
Yes, she was part of the duo. Also, she was in the. Was she in the toss?
I'm not sure if she was in toss. I know she was in
not.
acro and
yeah,
pyramids.
she was in pyramid and acro, but yeah, she was part of the duo that we saw a moment ago. And now for Converse, it'll be Ayana Manning in the 6-element single athlete pass.
So it's exactly as it explains. She has 6 elements that she'll perform in this pass, which is very difficult as well. So you'll be able to see different variations of passes that are performed in the sixth element, probably throughout the day. But her start value is a 9 point, where was that? 9.75?
She was a part of the trio a moment ago.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
That punch front skill is incredibly hard on a dead mat. So she did a front tuck, round up, whip, back handspring, 1.5. So right there, again, those 6 elements in that pass is incredibly hard to execute every single skill. And the more skills you have in the pass, the more there is to deduct once again. So beautiful job by her. I would say, just that landing a little bit, but overall, great execution, and she seemed very happy with that.
Genesis Carson's partner in the tumbling duo, Asia Johnson, up next for Limestone, also a first-team all-conference performer during the regular season. And
her start value is a 9.95.
So this has the makings to be spectacular.
Correct. She is a very strong tumbler, has been for Limestone. It's always the pressure as you await the judges. Their signal that you can go. So I know we used to make sure that our student athletes weren't standing there too long, so make sure that they were relaxed and nice and focused, but also not stressed out while they stand there.
That's right.
And I think she's ready to go. As you just saw, another punch front skill. So she did a front tuck, front handspring front tuck, round up a handspring 1.5. So extremely strong from her, as she had a little lack of rotation into that round up back handspring 1.5, and she was able to get it around. So I think they're very happy with that.
And now we move to the open pass. Sienna Brown for Converse, who was doing her first tumble of the day. She was an all-conference first-team performer for Converse during the regular season as a sophomore.
Yes, and she has a 10.0 start value. So we'll be able to see that high level of performance here, as all the tumbling has been today. Again, once I said, this is probably one of my favorite parts to coach and watch. It's very impressive.
We saw her a little while ago in Heat 2 of the sink toss.
And Heat 3, she was the top.
That's right, she was.
Yeah.
So she's just over there to our right, waiting patiently for the thumbs up.
And this will be our last heat of the tumbling event. That punch front skill, 4.5 through to full. Great job.
Fantastic.
Sigh of relief as she landed that. So as you saw, that nice extension from that 1.5, and she stepped out to a round off full. Little drag in her foot on the landing there, but she seems very happy that she executed that.
Yeah. Very interesting, kind of an individual rivalry, too, between two first-team all-conference performers. And, of course, we're getting ready to see Casey Keir, the Conference Athlete of the Year. Kind of an individual aspect to this, where to see who can best who in an individual points total once we get the points here in a moment after this run by Casey Keir. We've seen her do pretty much everything today, and this is her specialty, as you said.
Yeah, so she's here in the open pass with a 10.0 start value as well. I believe she'll perform that punch front pass as well. And as a freshman, I've trained a lot of freshmen that have been in individual tumbling heats, and they always say if they're from a gymnastics background, they love it. If they're from a cheerleading background, it's a little harder for them. So
I bet.
just because they're the only one out there and they're not used to that. So, but the best thing to do is just make sure they're nice and relaxed in that corner and ready to perform. And obviously, they train to do this.
Oh yeah. So here comes Casey Keir.
Beautiful. There you go. Nice and controlled. Very strong. She just did a front handspring, front tuck, round off back handspring, 1.5 to a step out, round off full. So great job from her right there. Probably one of her better passes.
That was fantastic. Make sure to keep up with all of the great things happening in Conference Carolinas through social media. You can follow Conference Carolinas on Twitter and Instagram at Conference Carolinas. Make sure to also like Conference Carolinas on Facebook at facebook.com/Conference Carolinas. And don't forget to keep up to date on all things happening in Conference Carolinas by visiting conferencecarolinas.com each and every day. We await the scoring for the judges, and then we'll move into the team event. Each team will have 2 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock. And that will be the last event of this first semifinal coming up later this afternoon. After about a little bit of a break to warm up, it'll be the second-seeded Belmont Abbey against 3-seed Coker in the second semifinal. All leading to tomorrow's team final at 5 o'clock, but with individual event finals beginning at noon on Championship Sunday. So the team event will encompass everything we've seen through the first 5 events. The event features up to 24 athletes on the floor at one time, performing an acro, toss, pyramid, and tumbling in a routine set to music. Key items for officials to evaluate include synchronization of skills, stability of structures, body position, and technique of the tumbling. Very fast-paced event, so be sure to keep your eyes all over the mat. All kinds of things going on to finish up this first meet of the day.
Yes. So this is obviously the biggest piece of this. So it's out of a 110 start value. So start value obviously depends on the elements that they're putting on the mat. We want to be able to watch all the different segments. So you have everything that you just saw.
Yep.
Will all just be encompassed into a 2-minute 45-second routine with up to 24 on a mat at one time. So the creativity comes out. They have a little dance in this, a lot of fun. Probably everybody's most liked event as they watch so many athletes go at one time. But it's very, very important to make sure you're watching the execution as well on all sides of the mat.
So as we await the judges' scoring, how close? Well, here it comes. But how close does Converse need to be? We'll talk about that in just a moment. So, yeah, so as we head to the final event, Limestone with a 4 and some change point lead, 174-375 over 169-850. So what does Converse have to do to make up to try to win this thing?
They got to execute right now with their start value of a 102.06. So we'll let you guys tune in and listen to the music. And it looks like they did execute those skills. So what we were watching comprised of every event that we have seen so far this afternoon, and I think they're pretty pleased with that. A little bit of lack of synchronization, as we saw in some of the tumbling, but overall, looks like they executed every single skill, and that's what you want whenever it comes down to this.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Just underneath the 245, too. I think they had about 2 seconds to spare, which that's another thing. You got a ticking clock in your head to get through what you need to do. But we'll see if it's enough to make up over 4, right at 4.5 points.
Yeah.
To try to overtake the regular season champion Limestone Saints, who is, they're getting ready on their mat to perform their routine here in the team event.
Their start value is a 103.71, so not too much higher than them. I think the biggest thing is to make sure that we watch how they execute, but it's definitely going to be a little close. This is what you want. I mean,
yeah.
As a coach, I'm always like, I want that challenge. I want to watch my athletes perform to the best of their ability in this pressure situation. That's what you train for. So I think they should be pleased over there that, regardless of the result, they've had a great meet. Mm-hmm. They've executed every skill. Everyone landed on their feet in the tumbling.
Yeah.
So that's what you want in a championship setting, in the semifinals or finals. That is what you want. So very, very proud of her. Coach Jackson this is our first year. So to make it this far in your first year as a head coach is awesome. So props to her as well.
Yeah, no matter the results, Converse has no reason to hang their heads as they either head back to Spartanburg or as they head back to their hotel.
Correct.
And compete
for the event finals tomorrow.
That's right, tomorrow. But, of course, we still will see probably some of these Converse team members tomorrow in the events individual finals, I would imagine.
Yes, correct.
So not everybody is done regardless today of the result.
But they should be very proud. So I think that they will be able to be excited when they go
Absolutely.
back. All the meets today, I mean, it's an incredible matchup, and that's exactly what you want in a setting of a championship. So it should never just be easy, you know. You want it to be challenging. But this is great preparation for nationals, in hopes that, you know, if Limestone proceeds or, you know, whatever may happen. But right now, this is what they're training for.
And something we should point out that in the national meet, there's no divisions. You could be facing people that are typically Division I schools or other Division II schools. And Limestone to be ranked in the top 8 right now is pretty impressive as they take the mat for their team event. 2 minutes, 45 seconds on the clock. Enjoy.
Incredible performance. I'm pretty sure they secured that one.
Yeah.
But amazing overall as you watched each element that they performed. There was always a nice stick stand clean, and they executed very well. So their acro segments, as you saw, that one-man section, it's always impressive to watch all of those groups in synchronization execute. So their difficulty was a little harder, as you saw in the tumbling, and that's what helps your start value increase. And then obviously those one-to-one pyramids are incredible to watch. So they had 3 groups who were holding that thigh stand pyramid, and that mid base was extending one-to-one. So very impressive. She has a strong group of athletes that are young, and she's been able to kind of keep the ball rolling with her culture. So it's really awesome to watch.
Yeah, fantastic, and so many things. I started looking up at the clock and like, are they going to have time to finish what all they want to get done? And they certainly did. And you can see why that they are the regular season champion and ranked so high, and absolutely deservedly so in the nation as we wait for the team event scores and then the final meet total scores. But I would be very surprised if Limestone does not advance to tomorrow's championship round.
Correct. And but it is a very, very great meet, as we were speaking about prior. This matchup is one of those rivalries, as they were both in the championship last year in 2022. And it's always been fun to watch both teams. But Ebony Jackson has done a great job with the Valkyries as they have made it into the championship in the semifinals, as they defeated Lander. When was that? Tuesday. So.
Yeah. And the only two champions that Conference Carolina has had.
Correct.
With 2022 Limestone and 2021 in Converse. Yeah.
So really, really awesome job from both teams today, and I think this is a great start to our championship weekend.
It is, absolutely. As
Robbie, this was your first experience. What did you think?
It's fantastic. I think it's been great. Just, a lot of things to watch and look for, I think, more than anything else. And I anticipate picking up more as the weekend goes on. But just the sheer athleticism of every athlete at every, lack of a better term, position.
Correct.
And the technique that each individual athlete has to keep in mind and perform in each of their events has been fantastic. So this has been great, and having someone with your background with me obviously has done nothing but help in keeping me knowing what to look for.
just here to educate.
That's right.
This is a great sport. I obviously was able to have the opportunity to compete. I was part of the second team at Oregon when Acrobatics and Tumbling was created. So it's been nice to see that evolution, and then as a coach as well, being a part of it. So I'm happy to be here and
absolutely
excited that the conference asked for me to come help you out.
I am too, because I'd be lost.
Any viewers watching from home, I hope you're all intrigued, interested, been able to watch your student athlete or, watch both of these teams perform today. It has been an incredible meet, and we're really excited and looking forward to our next meet against Belmont Abbey, who is ranked second in the conference, ranked number 10 in the nation, and we'll watch Coker as they advanced from the quarterfinals, and they made it here to semifinals, and that will be another close matchup, number 2 and 3.
And Belmont Abbey at number 10 needs to really kind of make some hay this weekend to maybe jump over Limestone or at least replace them in that top 8 to move on to the national meet.
Yeah, I think that's what they're looking forward to. And, again, one meet at a time. I know that all of these coaches, they try to work kind of the same in that sense of they want to make it that far. So I think everybody's just excited to be here and be able to compete in a championship setting before they hopefully move on to nationals.
Or best case scenario for the conference, Limestone move up to 7, Belmont Abbey to 8 in a close, But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We are waiting the team event scores. Well-deserved round of applause for both teams.
and there is our final. So Limestone is going to win this to be able to move forward to the championship meet.
265.435 for Limestone, 258.910 for Converse. So Limestone advances to tomorrow's championship meet. And to put a bow on this one, Miranda, this is what we expected from Limestone and kind of what we expected from Converse. I think they did some great things, but a lot to work on moving forward into the athletes that will perform tomorrow and then into the next season.
Absolutely, and I think this is a great start to our championship weekend, and Converse should be very proud, and we'll see them tomorrow at the event finals. And I'm sure Limestone is ready to go get some rest before tomorrow. Absolutely,
and I do too. It's time for us to rest a little bit. Thank you for watching the first semifinal meet. Again, the final score, Limestone 265.435, Converse 258.910. We'll be back in about an hour, a little less than an hour, to set you up and set the stage for the number 2 seed Belmont Abbey Crusaders and the 3rd seeded Coker Cobras, set to begin at 3 o'clock.